let's talk about the Josh Brueckner fight, bro. We
Let's
gotta
talk
talk
about
about it.
it.
First of all, I know me and you had a little back and forth on Twitter regarding the fight, but I want you to know that I'm not here to be disrespectful or a dickhead. We're here to talk about it, right? But let
Yeah,
let's
no,
let's
let's
get your
talk.
piece on the fight. Let's get your piece.
Yeah. Basically, my piece on the fight is, people who haven't been fighting for very long. Um, it's always like anybody who has been, putting on a pair of gloves since they were a kid is going to give you an opinion on how to throw a punch. Everybody does it differently. Everybody's Muhammad Ali. Everybody's like a coach when it comes to boxing, and so you're getting so many different opinions on so many different things. And I had my first boxing match ever against Corey Wharton, and I didn't really learn much from that fight because neither one of us really knew how to fight. I was just kind of out there, just beating the hell out of cases and exhibition, and I didn't learn anything from that. And so, I get another opportunity to hop on another boxing card because I was ready to go right away. I didn't get touched in the first fight, and I was like, well, this boxing's got to be the easiest sport in the world. And I was like, oh boy, was I wrong. So I just got back into fight. Just kind of just hitting the bags a lot, doing like workouts and stuff. Not really sparring a whole lot. Just kind of he's like, we got this really, really dangerous guy named Josh Brueckner. He's supposed to be like, the world beater. Like he's supposed to be like this guy that is untouchable, that everybody is scared to fight, that nobody wanted to take a fight with this guy for 2 years. And, I'm just hearing, Mams on the phone just hyping this guy up. Like he's untouchable. Like this guy's like Conor McGregor, like Muhammad Ali, like Mike Tyson. I'm just sitting here thinking like, I'm not scared of nothing. Like give me the fight. My second fight ever. I want to fight a guy who has, 5 years of pro fighting experience, plus, his 19 years of whatever fight background. Kid's been throwing a punch since he was like 7 years old. And I was like, I think that's a good challenge to see like where you're at, where you can compare yourself to. And, you just listen to all these people talk about, oh, and so, just kind of going into the thing, getting ready for the fight, you just hear all these different opinions, all these different people. I went in there and I was looking for, an early exit, an early knockout on Josh. So that's what you see, like, in the beginning of the fight. I go right at him. I throw the first jab. I'm on his ass. He even said it in his own podcast. He never said anything disrespectful. I think, Josh is, he's obviously, I don't have a single issue with him. I think his girlfriend kind of talks a lot, but other than that, I don't have a single problem with the guy. He gave me credit. He gave me respect. He was like, I wasn't really even expecting him to be able to throw a jab. And he's like, he started off really good. And, obviously he has like, a black eye and stuff, I think that, the problem with everybody looking at, my fight is like, there's guys out there like, Overflow, I love him to death and all, but he went out there and he got dropped with one punch. And, you got me, I didn't even touch the canvas. And then so, we have all these press conferences, all these interviews. I don't really know much about the guy. I made him laugh in one of them, like, this is how, you promote a fight. This is how you get ready for it. So, during the fight, I'm out there. I'm like, oh, I just need this knockout. Because in my head, I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to go back to the internet and give him the haha, I told you so's. So I went out there. He's coming at me. And, the fight experience showed because, he was kind of like pacing himself. And I was just trying to like, swing at him, like get the fight over with. And, yes, I landed a couple shots, obviously, comes from the black eye. But, you can only do that for so long. You don't realize that, 6'5", 234 pounds, like, 4% body fat. And so I'm like all muscle, essentially. You don't realize how much oxygen muscles take. And so I went out there, I'm swinging, and then, you get gassed out. It doesn't matter like how big, fast, strong you are. You could be the biggest, fastest, strongest guy. But, once there's no gas in the tank, you kind of just become dead weight. And so, like, you get to the end of that second round, I'm kind of dead weight. And then I posted the clip. Obviously, the guy, he's a wrestler. He's an MMA fighter. He shot like you would shoot in like a wrestling shot, like basically stood on a knee, wrapped me up, and punched me in the back of the head.
Oh,
A few things with that is like, one, I'm already tired. Anybody who's ever been tired knows you're already lightheaded. You're tired. You're already lightheaded. And two, you don't have to be very strong. It doesn't have to be that big of a hit. Anything can happen in boxing. It could all change with one punch. And between being extremely gassed and getting hit, in the back of the head right there. Everybody's number one thing is, oh, well, you hit him in the back of the head. And I'm like, well, yeah. Granted, I'm not saying I did or did not hit him in the back of the head, but with that being said, dude's got how many years of fight experience versus a guy who's had 2 fights. He had to go into that expecting that he was going to get, some shots that aren't usually shots you would get in a boxing match. You know, the fact that this guy has this extensive boxing background, if you watch the clip and how he shoots him and he punches me in the back of the head, like, it's like a guy with experience, a guy who everybody was so terrified of, a guy that nobody wanted to fight. You know, like I genuinely could not walk away from that and be like, oh, I was so impressed by this guy. Because like I sit there and I think to myself, like, had like I used my range, had I sparred a little bit more and learned how to pace myself. You know, the first fight was only 2-minute rounds. You know, had I, you know, gone out there and just fought my fight, you know, just worked, I could have won that fight with a jab. Like, I have an 84-inch reach against a guy with 74-inch reach. You know, like there's a lot of factors that had I known post fight, had I taken more serious, you know, there's a lot of things I would have liked to change in that fight. And so that's why I look at it like this. It's like, okay, guys, I've had 2 fights in boxing since June. I'm gonna get back to LA. I'm going straight back into the ring. I'm going straight back into my next fight. I'm gonna be sparring like 3-4 times a week. You know, and once I figure out how to pace myself, once I figure out how to use my range and my size, like, that's why I tell everybody it's gonna be a dangerous thing. Like, I feel like a lot of people who are on the internet, they're saying, "Oh, stop boxing, stop doing this, stop doing that." They're posting my one missed swing, that they love to keep like reiterating back towards. And it's like, you guys can post that all you want. Like, you guys act like boxers in the history of boxing have never took a swing and a miss before. Like, you guys just want to post it because it's me and you guys want to come for me. But let's talk about, you know, when Temper got dropped. Let's talk about when Sensei lost his fight. Let's talk about, you know, Deji losing 3 fights in a row. And everybody's giving him credit for giving Floyd Mayweather a black eye. And I'm sitting there going like, guys, these guys have been boxing for forever, months. I started out as a workout routine, and now I'm in fights. It's just like, once I figure this thing out, you know, I don't see anybody, you know, being able to compete. I physically can't hit in the scene. You know, like I said, I don't take anything away from Josh. I think, you know, like I said, I give Josh his merit, I give Josh his credit. You know, Josh beat me, whatever. But I do want a rematch. I want to run that back when I have a little bit more fight experience. I want to see, you know, is he as good as he says? Because, you know, he's in his interviews talking about ring rust and this and that. I'm sitting here going like, bro, like, I was dead weight, you know what I mean? And you know, hit to the back of the head when you're already lightheaded. Like, you know, the lights, you know, went off for a second and they came back on and they come over to the ring. And I was like, I'm telling my coach, like, I'm good. Like, let me go back in. And then he comes over and he holds his fingers like this. And he goes, how many fingers am I holding up? And I was like, 3. And that's why they are like to talk online. They're like, oh, he said he saw 3 people. I didn't see 3 people. I was telling him I saw 3 fingers up. He goes, no, I'm only holding 2. I'm only holding 2 fingers up. That's literally what I was saying. And they're like, oh, he's seeing 3. And I was like, I'm not seeing 3. I was telling him 3, and they took that as I was seeing 3. And then I was like, no, don't call the fight. And so he goes, you know, I care about your safety. This is influencer boxing. We're not fighting for, you know, the heavyweight world championship of the world. You know what I mean? And so he throws in the towel, and my cousin who was in the corner of me, he goes, there's no way you just did that. And he goes, yeah, you guys blame me. And I got mad love and respect for my coach because I was really upset about it. I went and sat in the locker room, and I was like, there's no way that we just threw in the towel like that. There's no way. I've never quit on anything in my life. And, you know, in boxing is one of those things where it's like, it's not really your call entirely. And he, you know, granted, he was more worried about the safety. He didn't really, you know. And then I got, like, you know, the ref and the ump over there talking to me, and they're like, oh yeah, we all saw it. We all saw the hit to the back of the head. But like, at the end of the day, nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody wants to talk about, oh, you got tired and didn't get off the stool. I was like, okay, go talk to Overflow, who went out there for 10 seconds, got punched one time and got dropped. Go talk to who else got knocked out? Go talk to
I think everyone.
Go talk to old boy that got DQ'd for over exhaustion. I've never even heard of that before. Nobody wants to talk about any of that. Everybody's just like, oh, Chase lost his fight, so let's go after Chase. And I'm sitting here like, well, screw everybody else on this boxing community on the internet. Like, if you guys want to chat about it, we can chat about it. But at the end of the day, one, nobody is ever going to get in the ring. Like 90% of people would never get in the ring. 2, the other half of those people, you know, wouldn't even be afforded the opportunity. And 3, like, you got all these boxers who are trying to criticize influencing boxing. But here's the thing about influencing boxing is boxing was a dying sport. MMA was taking it over. And it's because of the influencing scene that this is such a prevalent thing now. You need both of them in the sense. And the point of watching influencer boxing is not to watch Canelo or freaking Ryan Garcia or the Tank. It's to watch guys that normally wouldn't box. So then you got these guys like Josh who have this fight background, and you know, now we got Pretty Boy Taylor and all these other guys who are legitimate fighters that just want to hop in the influencing boxing scene and start beating these guys down. I'm sitting here going like, well, what was the point of that? Why don't you just go fight other, pro fighters? You got Paul Bambo, whatever the fuck his name is. Like this guy, his whole Twitter is tweeting at me, talking about stop calling me out. Man, I wake up in the morning. He goes, "Good morning. I'll still beat your motherfucking ass." I'm like, "Bro, you're 170 pounds. I would like to see you try. I'll bet you can cut off every lock on my hair that I don't even touch the canvas when I fight you, dog. Like, I don't give a fuck how much pro fighting experience you have. Once I learn how to pace myself, once I learn how to throw a jab, I'm gonna be a deadly fighter, and I 1,000% believe that."
Okay, that was a lot to digest there. A lot, right?
Whole lot.
I like that though. I like that. It seemed like you needed to like take that out somewhere. I like that.
Yeah. I have a lot built in that I can't like really tweet out.
No. I don't worry. That was amazing. But here, I agree with you with the whole Josh Brueckner having so much fight experience compared to you in your second fight. I agree. I think you took on such a hard challenge, and I respect you for that, bro. Right? I think it was just first round, you came to bang. You came to fucking fight. You showed that you were from the hood, like you said, right? Which I respect. I think second round, like you said, you tired out. And from what it seemed like we were watching, it seemed like you wanted a way out. I could be completely wrong, but I'm just giving you like my thesis about the fight,
That's a fair assessment. That's a fair assessment. Like, obviously you're tired. I was just looking for more breaks. I spit out my mouth guard on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
For that 8 seconds. I took that straight. I learned that in the locker room when I watched the Minicon fight. I watched him do it. I was like, I just learned something. And like, that's how new I am to this boxing. I didn't even know you could do that. And he didn't get charged a point for it. I literally took that straight out of that fight and took it into my fight. So I'm like learning this shit on the fly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you got these influencers. Like, I could have took easy fights. Like, after the Corey fight, I got an option to pick so many different people that I could have took an easy fight with, including JMX. Like, I still want to beat the hell out of JMX, but like, he was running his mouth. Like, all these people, like, who's to say, like, I don't go and I pick a fight with, Harry, or like, obviously, like, Harry Giles, he's not a big fighter, or like, I go find some kid on the internet like Ginty that JMX fought, and I go beat the hell out of him. And it's like, okay, well, I can pad my record with this, or I can tell the world that my second fight ever, I fought the best guy that they had to offer. Like, you guys, that's like sending your big brother to go fight your battle, and then big brother gets his ass whooped. Like, I mean, you sent your best guy, so you better hope that this guy beats me, because if he doesn't beat me, that, it wouldn't have made sense for boxing, if that makes sense.
No, bro, absolutely. No one's taking away the guy you fought. Like, win or lose, bro, you did fucking great. And